Welcome back to this video series on building a ChatGPT app with inside Flutterflow. If you didn't check out part 1, please do so, because that gets you to where you need to be right now to start building out the UI. Please do have some patience in this particular video, because it's going to take a while for us to sort of construct the UI, but once we're there, we should have all of the pieces in place for us to then start putting the more interesting features with inside the application. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So let's head over to the widget tree then. Let's start building out our UI structure. So here on the left hand side, you've got the home page selected. We've got the column selected on the home page. So of course that, you know, if you've been using Flutterflow for a while, that a column means that everything you put inside it is going to be vertically stacked. Okay, so inside that, we are going to put some containers in there, because these containers are then going to hold further widgets to style out our application. So let's just firstly click on the little plus here. Let's just hit container. Let's hit the plus again, container, and the plus again, container. So we've now got 3 columns at the moment. They're not kind of how we want them. The top one's in the right place, the bottom one's in the right place, but the one in the middle is just basically in the middle. So the one at the top there, we need to make some changes to. So with that one selected, let's just give this a height of 120. So just type in 120 there. Let's select the container here at the bottom. Let's give this a height of 70. And then with the container in the middle, just select that one. And this one, we're not going to set any height on it, but we're just going to choose this option here to expand this out to fill the available space. So just hit that, and you'll find now that this one will, anything that goes inside it will actually then just fill this particular space, with the rest of it being fixed. We want to give our containers some titles here. So the container, I'm just going to select there. I'm just going to select it, and up at the little pen here, I'm just going to give this a title of header. And then this one at the bottom here, we're just going to give this one a title of container message, like that. And then the one just down here is going to be called container current. Okay, so the naming is not mandatory with inside this, but it's nice to be able to give your application some naming in certain certain widgets, just so then when you are looking at a rather than more complex hierarchy with inside the widget tree, then you should be able to easily then identify certain types of widgets, and it will just helps you out a little bit more in the actual application. So that's it. That's all of the containers. Now, with inside these containers, now this is where we now need to start adding some additional detail in. So this is where the power of Flutterflow really comes in now, because we now want to style this container up using our themed styles that we created earlier on. So with this one selected, up the top here, you've got this option called widget styling. Just select that. And we just want to choose the primary gradient one that we created earlier. And you can see that that's now being put in place. Now, what you might have noticed also as well is that it's actually carried across the actual height, which is what we had set with inside our actual widget. It's going to reset what we just put in. So we just need to make sure that we put 120 in after that. And of course, the same thing will happen, of course, if you then start applying styles elsewhere. So just remember that one. That's a bit of a trick there that sort of gets you. We've also got down here, for some reason, we've got some conditional visibility that's kind of showed on there. So let's just turn that off. Not quite sure where that one's come from, but we just turn that off there. If that happens to you, just make sure that's turned off. And you normally can tell actually when something like that happens, because if you just hit the little tick there, or the sort of selector, you can see here that we've kind of got the little eye that appears here, which is indicating it's got some conditional visibility on. So whether I just absolutely, inadvertently just clicked on that, I don't know. But anyway, so that's gone. So we're pretty clean here. So now, of course, we now need to start padding out this particular part of the actual header. So let's just hit on the little plus here. So we're going to add a column in, because with inside our application, I'll just flick over to that. You can see here that we've got this like little robot here, which is a Lottie animation. So we've kind of got a column here, so everything's going to be stacked in a column, and then of course we've got everything then in a row. So just move back to the application. So now we're just going to choose here a row here. So then just put a row in here, and then with inside our row, just hit the little plus, and in here we are going to include a Lottie animation. So just do LOTT and just choose Lottie. There it is. Don't worry about the dummy image that we've got put in there at the moment. So next in the row, we're now going to put a column that's going to be positioned here. So just hit the little plus on the row, and we're just going to choose column. And with inside this column, of course, we have got 2 text elements here. So we're just going to choose text, and then just choose plus here and do text as well. So that's pretty much everything that we need there for a second. So with inside our text here, we're just going to give this now a title. We're going to call this AI Chatter Box. And with inside our styling, we now need to make some changes here. So with inside our body, we now want to do a title of say medium, and we need to also then choose the font size. We're just going to bring this up to 22 just to make that rather large. And then with inside our primary text, we just want to now switch this out to accent 2. So just choose that there, that'll give it as white. And then with inside the text, it's just below that there. You can only just seem to make it out there. We just need to make some changes here. And what we're going to put in here is the title of our application, which is a personal ChatGPT client, and then ... Okay, so we just want to now make some adjustments here. So instead of primary text, we just want this to be the accent 3 option there, which just gives it a slightly dialed back sort of color that we've kind of got there inside the application. And then here, of course, we just need to make sure that everything with inside, if I go back to the widget tree, we just want to go back to the column and just make sure that we then push everything over to the left hand side. So just select that and everything will be over to one side. And probably just for good measure, just choose the text there. Let's just give this a slight little bit of padding at the top there of say 5, and then just space it out a little bit. So let's just sort out this Lottie animation now. So let's just choose that option there. And with inside here, we've got the Lottie animation is going to be the asset. So we're not remotely loading this from the internet. We're just pulling it down from our project. So just choose asset. And then with inside here, we're just going to choose the asset. And it's going to be this one here, the 130341 live chatbot. There it is. So it's just there. So we just want to make a few other little changes here. We want to change the animation type just to be once, because we don't want it to be just keep looping over and kind of annoying our users. So the height, we're just going to choose as 90, for the width, and then just for the height, just down to 90. And we just now need to make some adjustments now up here as well. So inside our column, let's the column that's just here. Okay, so this is the column in the container header. We now just want to kind of center everything up. So we're just gonna bring this option here, just center everything there, just brings it down nicely in place for us. So that's pretty well much looking pretty close to our application. So I think that is the header done for the moment. Let's now focus our attention elsewhere in the UI. So with inside our container message, let's just select that and let's just hit the little plus there. So we're now going to add a row in here. So the row is going to include the text field that we're going to type our chat message into, and of course it's going to contain a button on the right hand side to actually send the response. So inside the row, let's just quite simply just add a text field. So just select the plus and then just do a search for text. And if you just scroll down here, you can see text field. Let's just add that in, and then we're just going to click on the little plus as well. So just hit that, and we are going to add in a icon button. So if I just choose icon button, just select that. And the good thing now, of course, is we can just have the icon button selected. We can go up to theme style and just choose the icon button there as an option. As you can see now that we've got everything in place for our icon button. So just move back over to row, and we just want to sort this one out as well. So on the left hand padding, we're just going to choose 20, and on the right hand side, we're just going to use 20 just to bring it off both edges there. And just for good measure, we're just going to put 4 in the top and 4 in the bottom just to give it a little bit of spacing out. So choose our text field. So at the top, we're just going to choose the text field option here, and we're just going to call this text prompt, like that. Just give that a name, text, spell it right, text prompt. There we go. So we'll be able to reference the name of that with inside our actions later when we're actually looking to just go into the widget, get the text value out, ready to pass into our ChatGPT. And I think that is pretty well much. Oh no, max lines. We just need to choose max lines to 8. So just really for simplicity here, we're just making sure that our users can actually type more than one line. We could make that larger if we wanted to, but I think text field 8 is absolutely fine. The minimum lines is just going to be 1 there, and so that should be all that we need to do in the actual application. So I think that is pretty much it. I think we probably just want to change the hint text here. So let's just select that. Let's delete that, and we're going to call this send a message. So this is just the kind of the placeholder text that kind of goes into the text box. So our final thing we just need to do is with inside the actual container mesh, is something we haven't done yet, is just set the theming of this particular container as well. So just have it selected, let's just move up to the top here, go to where it says theme style and choose our container secondary. We just need to go, once we've done that, is just drop the height back down to 70 again. And if I now click away here, you'll see now that we've got these nice little curved borders here at the side of the application. You can just see that there, and then we've got a kind of like a slight line that sort of gives it a little bit of division from the application. So next up, let's go over to our container in the middle there. Let's just hit the little plus there, and then let's add a list view into this. So let's just choose the list view option there. And the first thing that we're going to do is just give our list view a name. So just go up here and we're going to call this list view current, and just hit the little tick there, and that's going to give it its name. Just going to make sure that's selected right. So we're now ready to now start adding the additional components with inside our list view. So the list view is going to basically be a repeating conversation. Okay, so all we need to do is we need to just set the one row up to be the kind of style that we need to contain the widgets that we need. And of course, then as we then bind that list view to a load of children, then of course you'll see a kind of visual representation within inside the list view of exactly kind of what the conversation would look like in more widget form. Right, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to click on the little plus against the list view here, and we are going to add in a column. Let's add the column in, and then within inside the column itself, we're going to add 2 rows. So hit the little plus, hit row, and then we're just going to hit another row in, so you can see that now they're stacked on top of each other. So within this first row here, just select that. This is going to require a little bit of setup, okay, so follow along carefully. So we're just going to click on the little row, hit the little plus, and in this one, we're just going to add another column. So just choose column, and then within inside our column, we are just going to add another container in there, okay, and then just click on the little plus again on the column, and then let's just add a row in there. Now on the first little container, let's just select that, and on this particular container, we're going to go up to theme style unset, and we're going to make this our container primary. And then just down on the row itself, let's just hit the little plus here, and we're just going to put a text widget in there. And then within inside the actual row itself, let's go with inside the column. Let's just make sure everything is positioned to the left hand side. So just choose that there with the column selected. Just make sure you choose a cross alignment here to be at the start. So I'll move everything across for us. So let's select the actual container. Let's just set the details up of the container. So on the left hand side here, we just want to make sure that on the right hand side, we just want to make sure that we just change some of these details. So here we've kind of got the border radius now. We just need to make some adjustments in that department. So keep 6, just take the little lock off actually, because we're just going to make sure that we change these independently. So we've got 16, 16, 16, and this one here just needs to be changed to 4. And what you'll see here, if I just click away, is you'll see that you kind of got the curves around the outside, but this one here is very small. So it looks like the conversation's coming from the left hand side. In fact, actually, if we just go back over to the actual list view, in fact the actual column here, we can just give the column a little bit of spacing. So let's just give this 12 all the way around. Let's just hit the little lock, and you'll find that you get 12 all the way around. If I just click away now, you'll see that you've just got that look in the bottom left hand corner where it's just off the sides there. So that is looking good. So within our container, let's just choose our container again. We just want to drop down the height actually. So we just want to take the height off there. But don't worry too much about that at the moment, because we're just going to actually put in a text in there. So that'll just bring our container back into view again. So we've now got the text within inside, which is great. Just within inside the actual text, actually, I think we'll just probably give the text a little bit of padding around the outside. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll actually go to the text, we'll wrap that actually in a column. So if you right click on this and just say wrap widget, you can then just say column, okay? And then with the column selected, let's just give the padding, just hit the little lock again, and we're just going to put 12 in here. and you'll see that now that things just appear a little bit around the edges. So that's pretty well much looking good for us. We'll come back and change the style in a second. So let's move back down to the actual row that we created here. So this is the row. So if I just collapse this down, we've got the container, and then just below that we've got the row. Hit the little plus, you've got the text. We're just going to now add in another little icon here actually into the row. So with that row selected, let's just hit the little plus here. Let's just go down here to the icon. If we just do a little search for icon, we can then add that in. So just going to be an icon on its own, so just select that. But we're just going to move the icon up. So if we just hold down icon, we're just going to move it up there, and very quickly we're just going to drop it in so it appears actually at the beginning. So with the icon selected, we just need to make some changes now to some of the details here on the right hand side. So we're just going to choose the font size to be 10. We're just going to choose the color here to be the secondary text. Okay. And we're just going to change the option here to now be a, I think it's copy. Let's have a look here if we can find the right one. So it should be just one of these, content copy. Just choose that one there. So that will just give us that little that look of like a little copy icon. And with inside this particular text here, just choose select the actual text there, and let's just make sure that the color is not primary text, but it's actually just secondary text. So it's just got that slight sort of hint of sort of grey within inside the actual text. And I think within the text here, we can probably just give this a slight push off from the left hand side. So just choose 5 on the padding, and you can see now that I've just spaced things out a little bit. I think we'll probably just change the text size as well. At the moment it's currently 12. Let's just drop, 14. Let's just drop that down to 12. Just make it a little bit smaller underneath. And if we can just choose the row here, so I just move down to the row here, let's just push this a little bit off of the top of the container. So just at the top here, let's just give this maybe a 5. I think we'll just drop it down a little bit. So I think that's looking pretty good for us now. So the last thing that we're just going to do inside this container is just sort this text out here. So with that selected, in there we just need to change some details on the right hand side. In fact, instead of changing on the right hand side, let's go up to theme style unset here, and we're just going to choose this to be our text body primary. We just want to change the color though, just down here. Instead of being primary text, we want this one to be accent 3. Okay, so that's pretty well much everything that we need set up for that particular chat area on the left hand side. So unfortunately we're going to have to do the same on the right hand side now. So we're just going to make some space here. Let's just bring that down a little bit here. So we've got our column, we've got our row, and we just now need to start working on this particular row now. So next up, we need to do the same to the right hand side of our chat window. So if I just have a look at the preview application, you can see here that we've kind of got this conversation flow, and so we need to make sure that we push our next panel over to the right hand side. So let's now do that now, but we're going to make it slightly easier this time. We're going to actually copy this particular one and then just make some adjustments to it. So with the column selected just here, if you just right click on it and say copy, go down to the row just below and then just right click and then say paste. You can see that it's in there. Now with that row selected, we're just going to push everything over to the right hand side. So just over here, we can choose the end option, which will just push it over. Now we want to make a slight little change here because we don't need this particular row on the right hand side. So just right click on that and just cut that out, or hit the delete key and it's gone. And we just now need to change the styling now, of course. So just choose the container here, and we're going to go up to the widget styling, and we're going to choose container secondary. Now of course what will happen is our styling is going to change. So let's just remove the height out, let's just remove the width out for now, and then we just need to make adjustments down here. So take the little padlock off from the border radius, and we're just going to choose 4 here for the bottom right hand corner, and then with inside the text with inside, just choose that, and then instead of it being the text primary, the text body primary, we can then just say text body secondary. So that should give us that look of the text that we need on the right hand side. So that should be, in fact, I think we just lost our bottom border there here. So actually where we have the padlock selected, let's just make sure we got 16 in here as well. So we've got 16, 16, 16 and 4. If I click away, yeah, we've got that look with inside the window now. So that is pretty good. We'll come back and we'll add some logic actually into these containers in a follow-up video where it will then manage the size. So if you look inside this particular view here, you can see here that the conversations have got this gap here on each side, so we can just make sure we can work out depending on how responsive the application is, and we can just make sure that we control visually the spacing that's actually in between the chat windows. But we'll come back and we'll add that in due course. So there we go. Just one thing I've spotted here on the UI is this panel at the top here. We seem to have got some kind of corners that are still not how we want them, but of course as we applied the style there we lost that. So just with our container header selected here, let's just move down here to the border radius and take the little padlock off. Let's just remove the top out there by putting 0 and the 0, and that means that we're locking in just at the top here. And as you can see here at the bottom, we've kind of got the same problem there. So let's just move down to the container message, just click on that there, and let's just, at the bottom ones, take off the padlock here. Let's just put those to 0, and let's put those to 0. So just a few little quirks that we put into the UI when we applied the styling. So there we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this particular video on constructing the UI with inside Flutterflow. Of course, if you feel like you want to have a bit more of a head start, there is a link in the description which will get you to a project where all of the UI elements that we constructed here are already in place, ready to set yourself up for the next video where we'll start setting up the ChatGPT functionality. So please do like the video, of course, and please do subscribe to my channel. Really do appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next episode.